Yes, live on the podcast broadcast, youtube.com/bevegan. That was Metallica. Welcome back to the show. Herb Stratford's hanging out with us here for the next hour or so, hour and change. Valdez is going to be joining us in the podcast broadcast too. It's Friday, so I'm sure we'll play some games and have a bunch of fun. How you been, Herb?
I'm good. 2 days in a row hanging out with you, man.
I know, man.
Thing.
Getting spoiled.
That's
Just getting
right.
spoiled. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about, because I know I want to talk to you about The Flash. Have you seen The Flash yet?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get right into The Flash before we'll go into Secret Invasion and what else is coming out here this weekend. But with The Flash, what did you think of the movie?
I mean, I got to say my expectations going in for DC films are always sort of lower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks to years of disappointment.
Yeah. And I mean, like Aquaman, I hated Aquaman. So, and I felt like the last Wonder Woman sort of underperformed. So I go in with a little grain of sand there, but I dug it. I mean, and I dug it because there was so much Batman. I mean, honestly, you know what I mean? I'm like, people are like, oh, you go to see Flash? I'm like, the Batman?
Yeah. Michael Keaton's return.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the Batman dominates this movie as far as his presence? And multiple Batmans, talk Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
and
it's hard. It's hard not to. You know what I mean? When you have all that juice. I mean, and I also feel like that's probably why DC was like, all right, Ezra's in a big old mess, but we can let this one out because it's not just the Ezra show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The thing I was bummed about was I read this week that I think it was Kevin Smith said that they were talking about the next movie, if Flash had done better, would have been an old Batman movie with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, but how? Oh, you're talking about like Batman Beyond. Yeah.
Which I'm like, I would have paid for that.
There's a lot of, I mean, it's still not 100% off the table, or is Kevin Smith saying it's 100% off the table?
They're saying it's pretty far off the table just because the way that they're just, slash and burn over there,
Well, all over the place. Marvel's cutting back on some of the movies they already announced and say, actually, no, we take that back. We're not going to do those. So, it is unfortunate. And they were projecting at first, there was high hopes. And I bought into the hype. I said this earlier on the show that, I bought into the Warner Brothers press machine hype when they were calling The Flash the greatest superhero movie of all time, right? I mean, I echoed that sentiment and I was excited about it. I still haven't seen it.
And it wasn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's all hype. You know what I mean? But I mean, I thought it was certainly a nice step, just maybe too little too late. You know what I mean? It's just like Ezra, he's a cool character, right? I mean, he does a good job playing that. He's like,
I thought they did fantastic playing the Flash for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's relatable, right? You know what I mean? Like you can actually go, okay, I get that guy. I don't get the brooding billionaire asshole, right?
Yeah.
But he's like a character you can sort of relate to until you find out about all of his personal problems.
Yeah. And this is the worst case scenario for Ezra Miller. Even though this movie will probably break even or make a little bit of money for Warner Brothers, it needed to be a resounding blockbuster success for them to even consider continuing to cast Ezra Miller in Warner Brothers Studio as the Flash or probably other projects. And considering that it came out like Luke Mild and it being the end, which I haven't seen it, but I heard that they basically leave it open-ended to where they can go either direction. They could continue with Ezra or they could continue without Ezra. Is that what they did?
Yeah. I mean, that's that's sort of the way it feels about everything. It's like, you hear about, Affleck saying he's not doing Batman. He is doing Batman. You know what I mean? It's like all over the place. So
right.
I think it's just going to depend on what, what Peter Safran and James Gunn decide to do. Right. And you've got all this other stuff. You got Blue Beetle, and you got some other stuff still in the next Aquaman movie, which does it have Amber Heard in it? I'm so confused.
And does it need Amber Heard though?
Right.
No, it doesn't.
For me.
For you? Okay.
Okay.
Thirst after her?
Maybe you guys want Momoa. I don't know. I got to say, Momoa, just as a side tangent here, Momoa was so annoying in Fast X. I just like, there's times I love Momoa like in Dune, and then there's times I can't stand him like in Aquaman.
Yeah. Okay, so what made him so annoying in Fast X?
Just that he was just like, it felt like he was just sort of smarmy and just sort of not taking it seriously. And, I'm just this cool dude. I mean, I don't know. It just
he's in Fast X, right? What are you going to take serious about that?
I don't know. I don't even know how those guys deliver their lines seriously. They're like, oh, we got a secret mission in Germany. It's just like, seriously, you guys are straight racers. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude, there's nothing serious about it. It's fantastic.
I hated that movie.
Yes. Well, that's just the beginning of everything that we're going to be talking about with Herb Stratford. Plus, we got your TMI Top 5. It's Friday, so we're going to do a game gauntlet and have everyone play against each other and so much more. You can join us, youtube.com/bevegan, or keep it right here. It's Rock 102.1. Clear. And Herb Stratford dropping expletive, huh?
Wow.
I'm out of practice. I haven't. I mean, I know I was here yesterday, but I mean, I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. Man.
Right. And I didn't know that during your vacation you were just going around dropping F-bombs everywhere. Look at the fucking Vatican.
Well, you know what I definitely want to see more from DCU is Peacemaker.
Oh, absolutely.
That was so good. And to me, that one scene where they did bring in Flash and Aquaman and just being able to finally like make fun of themselves and not take themselves so seriously. I'm like, that made the entire 8 or how many ever episodes it was just completely
10.
worth it. Was it 10?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I love
so
that.
good.
Love that show. Love that concept. And James Gunn's.
And they're saying season 2. James Gunn has said he's doing it right after Superman, right?
Okay.
I think he said that's his next thing.
That's the thing. And it's so impressive about James Gunn, but also so concerning now that he took over Warner Brothers. The guy is pumping out the scripts and then directing and everything else. Is like, the brain capacity, do you have that much in you to be able to continue to pump out gold? Or are you going to overdo it to the point where you're just going to hit a wall creatively and some of it's going to turn into shit? I don't know, but it seems like he wants to be hands-on in almost all projects. And he kind of needs to be, because he has that golden touch to a certain extent.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I mean,
but also like, you got to think about like him, like, to me, it's like this redemption thing because he got fired by Marvel. You know what I mean? He was like, his career in essence was over. And I mean, everybody else that ends up in that situation where this, digging up these old, whatever they were old texts or tweets or whatever.
It was tweets.
And it was just like, I was like, oh no, we're going to lose our golden child. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy. I mean, he, even more than Favreau, he's just like a guy that's like got a touch. He can go and do Favreau. I feel like, and I love Favreau, but I feel like Favreau is very like, he's Star Wars, right? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a big world. Certainly it's a big sandbox, but I feel like it's like anything that guy touches,
it's gold. Yeah. And he's been on a hot streak now. It's not like he can't lose, I mean, everyone has an L eventually.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now, and I predicted it. I said that's what DC needed, and I won't let anyone forget that.
So that's why it's super sweet to see him doing well. But you're absolutely right. Like, is the guy going to burn out? Is he gonna get stuck in something that Warner Brothers brass says do this, and he's like, want to do that, but they're my boss.
Well, no, I don't know. I think he might be in a position of power to where he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Right.
Because Warner Brothers were basically so desperate to turn that shit around that they're just like, okay. And I think his partner is also like his agent or manager. So like they signed the right deal. I'm sure they're covering their ass in many different levels. So all right, let me get this everything situated here for our next segment. And earlier this morning, we did a story about the world's dumbest drug bust. Was at a Dead and Company concert, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Low-hanging fruit for the cops.
Yes.
Oh my
Guys,
God.
do you want a guaranteed win tonight? Let's go.
It was so ridiculous. And in case you missed it, it went like this. Check it out. Rock 102.1 KFMA Weirdo. Have you ever been to like a Fish concert or Grateful Dead or anything like a big jam band experience?
I have not. That's not my thing.
I understand that's not your thing. I'll tell you what's weird and cool about it. Well, depending on what you're into. But when you go there to any of those, I've been to Fish concerts before, not Dead and Company, which has been traveling around, but that's a big ticket item. Thousands and thousands of people sell out those shows across the country. And the biggest part of those concert experiences is the tailgate in the parking lot beforehand. Now, what you'll see there, it's essentially like a free drug market. Not free drugs, but it's an open drug market.
Right.
And any one of those. Like, you literally are walking down each row, and people are like, mushrooms, weed,
Phil.
yeah, coke, whatever. I mean, everything. Acid, just shouting it out, right? Just letting you know that they have that for sale. It is insane. And it's been that way for decades, right? So when I come across a story about a police department bragging about a drug bust, I am sorely disappointed that they are bragging about finding people with drugs at a Dead and Company concert in New York. That's exactly what happened. And again, I put the headline on the podcast broadcast video that we'll replay later, saying cops finding drugs at Dead and Company concert is as surprising as finding water at SeaWorld. You understand?
Yes.
Like, it is no joke. So here's what they posted on their Facebook page about this drug bust that happened in New York. All right. And they're calling this the holy grail of drug busts. And I'm calling it the biggest layup in the history of layups. It's the easiest thing to do is find people with drugs at a hippie jam band concert. The more hippies, the more drugs. That's just math. Okay. So this is what they found. PCP, 53 grams of PCP, right?
Wow.
Mushrooms, 2.5 pounds of mushrooms. LSD, over 1,500 doses. Cocaine, 356 grams. I think there's 28 grams in an ounce, so it's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah. Meth, 244 grams, right? Ketamine, 1.3 pounds, along with bottles of ketamine. Nitrous oxide tanks, 9. Yes. One black flak vest with level 3 plates. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you'll need that there. You might need those like little heart jumpers, what do they call them?
The paddles.
Yeah, little heart paddles. So meth, amphetamine, Adderall, and other unidentified pills, and almost $30,000 in cash. So the street value of this wasn't revealed, but it's safe to say it would have been a lot. But again, that has just been a tradition of these type of concert events for decades, for generations at this point, you know, from the original Grateful Dead, you know, and so for them to be like, you know what, I got a hunch.
Got a hunch we might find some drugs.
Yeah, let's bring the K9 down. See if we might find some reefer. No, man, you're gonna find every type of drug known to man in these things. That's what they do.
Well, I mean, looking at the picture and then you listing all that off, what they don't realize is like they only got like maybe 10%.
Oh, I know. I know. You know, I'll give you a quick funny story before we hit the break. So when I was at a Fish concert, we had mushrooms, right? And I only had enough for like 2 people. So, and I was there with a couple people. And my buddy Elwat was with us, and he didn't get the mushrooms. So I split it with my other friend, and he was all mad at me. And he's like, man, why don't you give me any mushrooms? You just save any for me. And I was like, man, relax. I was like, we are at a Fish concert. So many people have mushrooms here. You're going to find them easily. And then I pointed to the guy literally standing next to us who we didn't know, who had dreadlocks. And I go, this guy probably has mushrooms for sale. And the guy goes, I do. And he did. And he had better mushrooms than I had.
You didn't even have to move.
Yeah.
Turn your head and ask.
You're right. All right. So there you go. So yeah, I wouldn't brag too hard. Moral of the story is, all right, let's hit the reset. We got Jeff My Life coming up next. It's super hard. And all they heard was it's super hard. So that's
Thanks for letting us know.
Let's see. These wrestling hotbeds.
We're just talking about shows and how hard it is to keep up with them all. Like there's so much.
Yeah, there's so much content out there. And then the thing is, you know, like you wanna start something and give it a chance, but then if it doesn't hook you, right, you're just like, I gave it 2 episodes. You know what I mean? You're like,
well, like the Idols.
What about the Idols?
Idol? Yeah.
Yeah, or Idol, like Beef.
Oh,
yeah,
the
Beef was
HBO
saying
Max
he's
show,
like,
the Max
I
show.
watched the 1 episode and then that was it. Their viewership dropped 100,000 between episode 1 and 2. Like that was
even
one.
finish it. I did not even finish it going to the end. I just couldn't.
But yeah, that's the name of the game. Like right before you'd have to sell the pilot and everything else, and pretty much now these streaming services, they're like, we'll give you the 8 episodes. But if you're going to get the second season, you've got to hook them in that first episode.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't remember the last time I watched anything that I was like, meh, about that I didn't end up watching. Oh, I'm that asshole. Stranger Things. I was so completely bored by the end of the first episode. I was like,
the first season?
Of the first season, I was like, I do not care. My boyfriend, my husband, and my 13-year-old, they watch They're all up to date on it now, but that was kind of their show to be watching. And I'm like, I could give two shits. I don't know why.
That's interesting because, like, I'm the problem is I'm a completist. So, like, once I'm so far into it, I'm like that's why I watch these Fast X movies because I'm like, I'm just gonna stay all the way through and watch it. Even though they went to space in the car, I'm gonna watch these things.
Oh, Jesus.
And so Stranger Things. I felt like the first season was the best one, and everyone is just diminishing returns. I'm just like,
I was bored.
Man.
I was bored.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes they don't make television shows for the ADD. Maybe it's that. Maybe you need a 5-minute Stranger Things. And I get, look, I'm kind of the same way. Sometimes I won't watch a series I know that's going to be good because the time investment that it's going to take, and I much rather just put on old episodes of The Challenge and the background and just turn my brain off. In fact, they did release 2 more seasons on Paramount Plus. If you saw that, yes, but not brand new. It was Ride or Dies and also Spies, Lies, and Allies.
See, and I saw them all when they debuted, so you're still catching up.
Well, I'm caught up now and already, like I said, too many hours on that.
Now?
I mean, if they did the algorithm at Paramount Plus, they'd be like, this guy is, he's a little weird when it comes to this challenge stuff. Waiting for the All-Stars to drop and everything else, finding out all the tea on that. We should talk to Drew again here soon just to see that. They did announce a new lineup for what's going to be season 39, and then also the United States or the Challenge USA.
Season 39. What year did this show start?
In the 90s.
In the 90s?
Yeah, and that's part of
it. Yeah, but it's not like
road rules and all that.
But it's like it wasn't. It's like not like it's not like one a year. You know what I mean? Like you might get 2 seasons in 1 year, and so
so that's how they're banging out. But that's good though.
Dancing with the Stars got to like season 23 and you're like 9.
Yeah, that's exactly how they do that. Yeah. All right. And then did you hear the hoopla about the people being upset about the introduction to Secret Invasion?
Herb Stratford. AI generated, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny. I know that I didn't like it when I saw it, just because I was like, that sort of left me cold, and I didn't know why, right? But like, like generally speaking, like when a good title thing grabs me, like there's a really cool one for this series we're going to talk about called Hijack with Idris Elba. It's got a great title sequence, right? And I mean, of course, Game of Thrones had a great title sequence. So it's like, it's funny when things grab me, I remember them, and I just was like, I just remember I don't really like that. And I don't know why. It seemed like it was weird artwork, but I didn't. And then I saw that it was AI, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe that explains it.
Yeah. Well, people are furious at this because they're calling it lazy, right? Marvel has faced backlash before based off there's like choppy or unreliable CGI, right?
Yeah.
Looking like they're taking cheap shortcuts. This is the cheapest shortcut that they've come up with so far. And not only do they feel like it's cheap and it's kind of half-assed, which is not up to par for Marvel standards, it's also taking away jobs from actual graphic designers.
Yeah.
Right.
You're literally just using a program that we all have on our phones. Like, go fuck off, Marvel. You got to do better than that.
Yeah.
Aren't you a $1 billion company? Don't make me be able to try to like come up with a comparative or a rival product so easily just on my phone, because I'll make a Secret Invasion too.
Yeah, I mean, I was scrolling down my Facebook like this morning or last night, and like a couple people commented that it was full of meh. They were not impressed with Secret Invasion so far.
So here's the thing. So I feel like Secret Invasion is more it's getting hyper focused on they make this joke about how, you want to watch this episode or you want to watch this movie, you got to watch all this precursor, right? To understand where you are. So I feel like this one, because it comes right out of Captain Marvel, in terms of the Skrulls, for people who don't know, but and then it's very much more Falcon and Winter Soldier. So it's very much more sort of like spy espionage and less, Hulk picking up a car and hitting somebody with it. So it's definitely a different thing. And I mean, the one thing I'll say, and I've only seen 2 episodes, but the one thing I will say is I like to see Nick Fury get his due and let him be the centerpiece of something.
Yes.
That's nice, right? And I love Ben Mendelsohn and anything he does. So, I mean, I'm like going to watch it for that, but it left me like, whatever. I mean,
right. I mean, I haven't been excited about Marvel in a while. Like, I know Guardians of the Galaxy looks like it's coming to streaming next month.
Yeah, and I loved it.
And
I loved it. It was fantastic.
Yeah. But like anything else, like I was talking to my boyfriend about it. I was like, I really like Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I was like, this could have been a movie. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been much shorter. But and then they're just cranking out more stuff. I didn't even know we were in phase 5. Like I am so far behind because they're just cranking out so much.
You're not alone. I think the general consensus is like that. Not the hardcore fandom, but just the rest of the people that make up for the billions of dollars they were making.
Right.
So there is that kind of like burnout, and part of it's because the product's been subpar. So that's why they've been scaling back. Disney's been scaling back, and after they made these announcements of all these films coming out and when, then they had to just rewrite the script and say, actually, this one's going to be pushed back to this year, and this one's not going to happen at all. And this is where we're at right now. So we'll see what happens. And we'll see if it will ramp up as far as the competition if DC starts getting some momentum. But so far, no good.
Right.
No, and I think also the writer's strike is going to have an impact on all this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it keeps going, I mean, that's the other reason they push stuff back, because they're just like, we don't even know when we're going to start on this stuff.
Right, because there's no end in sight to that, because that's already been, what, a month?
It's been almost 2 months now, and it's ridiculous, and it really has to do with like ChatGPT and AI and stuff. I think these studios that are like, hey, we don't necessarily need you anymore. We have these programs that are going to write dialogue, but it's like, no, man, it's more than that, because there is a creative element that you still can't duplicate yet. And even if you can, like, are you trying to eliminate people in general? Like, we need,
like,
I
mean, AI, like, because especially with some of these franchises and these different creative things, there is something about that human instinct, right? Like that gut feeling of like, if at that last minute, that script change, whatever, can make or break a show or a movie. And even somebody was posting about like Star Wars in the last couple things that they filmed. A lot of them are not letting the actors. They're like, no, this is what's on the script. And they're like, take it back to original Star Wars, because if Mark Hamill was like, that's not my Luke Skywalker, they would have made a script change. And now they're kind of going back to this original Hollywood format of like not letting the actors say like, no, this is not the character I've been building.
Yeah.
So that's a little worrisome as well.
Not really. So that's good and bad. I mean, depending on the actor and the attachment. If it was Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds is saying this, that's a good change, right?
Right.
If it's The Rock in any role, that's a bad change. I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So you can't trust a lot of these actors to really know what's better than the writers.
Yeah, but to completely remove it with AI and with kind of these stranglehold contracts that they're starting to come back out with. So,
here's the thing. So the last big strike in 2008, you know what that gave us? That gave us the boom in reality TV.
Yeah, it did.
Right. So what happens now if we end up like, what is the next step down? It's AI. Right. It's everything by AI. And then we're just one step closer to, idiocracy. Right. I mean, we're just, we're all just dumber because we're just watching, ouch, that hurt. Why'd you kick me in the balls or whatever the show was?
My favorite show, though. Honestly, the best part of like the challenge is when people get hit in the nuts. Am I right?
Oh my God. It makes me laugh so hard. Like I'm such a pubescent 12-year-old boy. Anytime anybody gets hit in the, even my own children, like, right. I got a couple of boys, whenever they've accidentally been hit, I'm in the corner laughing, not helping them at all. Yeah, somebody on TikTok had posted like, oh, this is the era I wish I would have grown up with, right? This is what we've moved to, right? Like I used to be like, oh, I wish I grew up in the 40s and 50s, like all dapper. People are starting to say 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
And some of the response have been like, no, because now we have pill bottles and multivitamins and we hurt because we kept trying to do the jackass stuff. This is not the era you actually want to go back to.
No, I still look back at the 90s and I knew in real time that the 90s were a decade that was going to be historic because there was there was a lot of fun happening, a lot of booms, a lot of peaks in pop culture when it comes to music. And so, yes, we do love the 90s around here. Me and myself as well, third person. Welcome back to the show, Rock 102.1 KFMA. We are in the podcast broadcast debating all different types of things. Film, talking about what's being released, this weekend. Of course, Secret Invasion has been released on Disney as far as the first episode. Herb Stratford's seen 2 episodes, right? Humble brag.
Yeah, humble brag. There's only 6, right? So, I mean, it's funny. I think what they do with critics is they don't want to let them just see 1, right? Because they don't want us to go, oh, and not impressed, right? They want to give you 2, so at least you get a little bit more into it, right?
Right, yeah.
So
let it breathe a little.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, now what they do is now I get nothing. So now I get it the same time anybody else does. So so they sort of
figured it out. You're in the Tucson market, and they're like, what do we even do this for?
You may be right.
Yeah. So we're talking more about Secret Invasion on podcast broadcast stream. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's coming to your streaming services. A movie called Maggie Moore. Is that a movie or a show?
It's a movie.
Okay, yes. And who's going to be in that and why you should or should not check it out. And just looking at who's in it, I think you should check it out. And then Hijack as well. It's another show that's coming to Apple TV. All that more coming up next, plus your TMI Top 5. So you can keep it right here. Join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. All right, so that was our tease, obviously. And then here's Avatar. Good job introducing that. There was two things I was going to mention. One, did you see Asteroid City? And
no, I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited because I love Wes, but I have not seen it just because I've been buried. I've got another film festival next month that I do in New York, so I'm trying to get all those details figured out. So I'm a little behind on a few things, but yeah, I love me my Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I know that they're going to be playing it at the Loft too. Here's the second thing I wanted to share with you. My friend Mo at Alt AZ, she sent me this when she was just like, we were talking podcasts, whatever. She wanted me to be on her podcast, which she does on the weekend. I'm like, why don't you just jump on my podcast? It's at 9. And then she sent me this when we're speaking about podcasts, and I think it was hilarious.
I don't care what you have a PhD in. If you cannot physically overpower me, you cannot tell me what to do.
Ooh, another white boy with a podcast. Hell no.
Oh my God. That is fantastic.
My dog won't stick my balls. Trying to see the video.
That's right.
That's a good left hook right there.
I didn't see that coming, did you?
Another white boy with a podcast.
I was like, it's so relatable, but I don't talk too many things about sports bets or things like that. Maybe a little bit. I did actually run that question on our Facebook page about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg fighting, who they would take in a fight. So Herb, like, if you were to bet money, because I know that you'd be intrigued by this fight and you would totally watch it. So if you were to bet money on who do you think would win a fight between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg in an octagon?
I'm going to go with Zuckerberg, and let me tell you why. Because Zuckerberg is that kid that he would not quit. You know what I mean? Like, I think Elon's all bluster, and I think he's a bully. And I think that, like, once he saw a little bit of blood, he'd just crumble.
Okay. So one of those guys. I mean, everybody's tough until they get punched in the face, and then you see who the real tough guy is.
Yeah.
You know, and I could see that. Just punch Elon in the face, and he just kind of shuts down. But at the same time, Zuckerberg, seems like a guy who has been punched in the face and probably has shut down, and probably why he's motivated at 39 years old to devote so much time and energy into jiu-jitsu. This is like his time to come back and not be bullied anymore. And another reason why Mark Zuckerberg was so quick to call Eli out on his bullshit. He's like, I'm not getting bullied anymore, you know? And he's just like, oh, you want to fight? Name a time and place. 3:00 after school, we still do that? So I used to get beat up. So I asked this question on the Facebook page. I'm going to share some of these comments here so we could see what people are saying. One guy was just like, oh, you're falling for this distraction. I'm sorry, what are we supposed to talk about? Fucking like political catastrophes,
right?
Continuously
19 times a day,
right. Yeah, so I asked that. Well, let's see what he said. Probably gonna tell you they want to keep us busy while Trump is unjustly tied in court. There we
go.
Yeah. Oh no, that's Berkey just talking shit to Dean. So Zuckerberg is kind of wiry built, tight and springy. Elon would just stand there and take it. Yeah. All right. See the submarine. That's funny. Zuckerberg he's been trained by one of the best fighters to my knowledge. That's what Ashley wrote. But yeah, we'll go through more predictions here in a little bit. But as far as the Zuckerberg training is concerned, I'm not 100% convinced that he's as good as his trainers allow him to believe he is. Because imagine this scenario, right? He's paying way too much money to be trained jiu-jitsu. I don't care what the normal rate is. When they saw Mark Zuckerberg walk into that dojo, whatever you want to call it, they're immediately like, oh, inflation. Price went up. Yeah. That's okay. I'm going to give you the best training. So he, obviously pays top dollar for this training for potentially one of the best trainers in the world. And then he does exhibitions, and he has gotten a gold medal and a silver medal. But who is he going against? And are they really trying? And are they really that good? You know, because if I was a trainer organizing these said tournaments and I want to continue to keep that gravy train coming, you know, I'm going to put him up against, you know, some of my weakest players to make my client feel like he's Chuck Norris.
I mean, there is video of Mark Zuckerberg arguing with the referee following his first loss. So, I mean, he did lose.
Yeah.
And one of them. Now, granted, it's because the ref said he tapped out. He said he didn't. So they just let it at a 0-0 draw.
Oh, see, and even that was a compromise to save face for Zuckerberg. No, you take the L. You know, that's a part of learning and becoming like a man and a tougher competitor, is that nobody in the history of a competition ends undefeated, except for Floyd Mayweather, apparently. But, you know, normally, you know, there's always going to be one of those L's on their record. And, you know, even some of the greatest, she's talking like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has lost games. He just won some of the most important games.
Well, and Muhammad Ali, I mean, you know, people have losses. It gives you character. It gives you the, you know, that's what they always say about the tournament, you know, the basketball tournament. You want to lose right before the tournament, so you get a little bit of motivation, right? A little bit of humility.
Yeah, you learn more from losing than you do from winning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
Factual. All right, let's talk about this movie that's coming out to, let's see, streaming. Where's this streaming at? Maggie Moore.
It's on like, you know, iTunes and stuff like that. And it's actually Maggie Moore's. Right?
Oh, Maggie Moore.
There's an S there. So it's you know, you mentioned the cast earlier. So basically, it's John Hamm and Tina Fey, right?
Yes,
well, that's an awesome cast. Who doesn't love those two, right?
Absolutely.
So Hamm is great. I mean, Hamm's one of my favorite secret weapons in Bridesmaids. I just love him so much as you know, the boyfriend. Anyway, he plays a sheriff in this small town. And the whole thing's filmed in New Mexico, you can tell just by looking at it. But he basically is a sheriff, and there's 2 homicides in this town. And ironically, they're both named Maggie Moore.
Oh,
so what's the odds of that, right? Well, Tina Fey is one of the nosy neighbors, right, of one of these Maggie Moore women. And so they're sort of starting this sort of flirtatious relationship. And she's, you know, sort of coming out of her shell, and she's divorced and he's divorced. But it's like, the interesting thing about this is the entire thing is based on a true case. So it's just bizarre because you start to, it's one of these things where true crime is just, you can't even make this stuff up, right? It's just so weird. So there's a hitman that's deaf. I mean, there's just all this weird stuff going on. It's not like a straight out comedy. There's some funny bits in it, but you think with Tina Fey and John Hamm, you're like, oh, it's going to be funny.
Right.
And it's not. It's like, I mean, it's a drama. It's got funny bits, but it's a crazy story. So I got a kick out of it. I mean, it's only 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is really undervalued.
It's unjust, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely, if you're looking for something to watch, this is fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does say something about it where it's not being released in movie theaters. It's just being released as streaming, meaning you could rent it or you just rent to watch it. So that's basically straight to TV movie. I don't, you know, I'm not a huge fan of that idea, but apparently that's a thing.
Well, you know, I mean, the problem right now is this time of year, it's really hard to get screens, right? I mean, there was a huge thing about IMAX and how there was a fight between who was it? It was the Mission Impossible people and somebody else trying to get grab the screens, the IMAX screens. I don't think it was Indiana Jones.
It was Tom Cruise against Avatar. No, was it Avatar? No, it was Tom Cruise against somebody. He was all butthurt. He's like, you know, Mission Impossible should have all of the IMAX screens and for, you know, a lot longer. Yeah, forever, basically, as opposed to, it was something. I mean, it's a big movie.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, I think a movie like this, if you put it out any other time than the summer, you would probably be in the theater. But they're just like, you know what? We're just not even gonna, you know, let's just put it out and it'll do fine. And it's good. It's entertaining. It's fun. And I mean, you know, you can watch it for $6 at home. I mean, you can't beat that.
No, that's super cheap. All right, well, that's good. That's Maggie Moore's, and that's the movie you should check out this week. You can do that from the luxury of your own home. We're continuing a conversation on the podcast broadcast. There, we're going to talk about Apple TV's latest series that just dropped called Hijack. We'll be back with more right after this. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Yeah, that is odd though for Tina Fey's career. And John Hamm is in everything, so it's hard to you know, pinpoint.
Don't feel bad for John Hamm. No, and you know, it's weird because I mean, Tina Fey, I mean, for a while she was ubiquitous. I mean, 30 Rock, she was everywhere, right?
Yes.
You know, And I don't know what she's working on, but I always enjoy seeing her. I think she's funny. I think she's great. And I love John Hamm. So I was a little surprised to see this pop up. I'm like, well, wait a minute, because I mean, he was just in the Fletch movie, so he's staying busy.
Yeah,
really
like I said,
doing
he's in everything. He really is.
I mean, Good Omens comes out next month, and he's back as the Angel Gabriel. And an angel who has amnesia. So he's basically just playing an idiot the entire time. That's fantastic.
Yeah, which I love. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So no, it's interesting that happened. But I mean, there's just, again, we're talking, there's so much content. Like, where do you even I mean, all the screens get sucked up. I mean, wait till Indiana Jones comes out next week on the 30th, and it'll be like you go to the multiplex and 70% of the screens will be playing Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I think that's too much, though.
I agree.
I don't think it's going to have the response that the studios may believe, even though it's iconic and it's 40 years old. It's you're talking of a previous generation, 2 previous generations ago, and it's an 80-year-old Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I remember when the preview or like the trailer popped up on my feed, and I'm like sitting there showing my boyfriend. He's like, "Let the man retire. Why are you putting him on a horse? Like, Jesus."
Yeah, it was his call. He wanted it.
I think it's going to do fine the first weekend, but I think it's going to underperform just like The Flash.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what is the next movie that you've heard about that might actually like overperform? Is there anything to look forward to for the rest of the summer?
Well, hold on while I pull up my list of stuff here.
Okay.
But we should just mention Black Mirror dropped this past
Oh
week.
no, I was gonna ask you if you saw Black Mirror. Like, Julia is awful. There's a lot of memes on this. I saw that episode.
There's some really good episodes. But all right, so here, let's just go through coming up. We've got so you got Mission Impossible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Indiana Jones we talked about. You got Oppenheimer. Honestly, that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most. That's Christopher Nolan's movie about the atomic bomb.
I'll tell you what I just read about Oppenheimer yesterday. Christopher Nolan said that people were walking out or at the end of the movie, leaving the movie so distraught they're unable to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? That was it. That was the one. It was Oppenheimer versus Mission Impossible.
Okay.
For big screens, because Christopher Nolan shoots everything on 70 millimeters, so you really should see it big if you can.
Yeah, wasn't Tom Cruise mad that he wasn't going to get as many IMAX screens as he wanted?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Okay,
So Oppenheimer's coming up. Barbie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and I'm not. I'm curious. I'm Barbie curious. Right.
Yeah.
Just to see what that's like. And then, really, honestly, you're right, Beef. I mean, you've got a lot of TV. You've got Loki, you've got Ashoka. Loki is October 6th.
Oh, so the second season.
Yeah. And then, for me, and this, Beef, Dune, part 2 in November.
Okay.
So really it's Oppenheimer and Barbie are the big things after Mission Impossible and Indiana Jones.
I mean, like Indiana Jones, like I'm probably gonna take my dad to see that because I was something but I'm serious, just to have that nostalgia, and I grew up watching the Indiana Jones movies with him and my brother, and just kind of see how they do, because I think this is supposed to be the wrap up. Because he'll be dead next year, so you know what I mean. Like, how much further can you take it?
Right. Here, let's reset a little bit. Let me show you something that you won't believe is real, but is 100% real. Okay. This pigeon. All right, check this out. Look at that pigeon. How it's standing. Have you ever seen a bird like this, Herb? I know.
I've seen owls where they pull up the bottom of the owl and you can see their skinny legs, but I have never seen a pigeon like that.
Yeah,
he did not skip chest day, did he?
Yeah, he did not. He definitely skipped a leg day though. Look at those wild legs. So check this out. This pigeon walking around.
There's something wrong with that bird.
I think that's a tumor.
It is not though. See, the internet freaked out like this. Like, what the fuck is that? This bird is an actual bird. It's gone viral on TikTok, but if I was old to draw a picture of a bird, it would look like this. Yes, absolutely. That's part of the comments. See what other comments. There's definitely 2 pigeons under a trench coat. That's what I want. And with what an AI generated pigeon is that? Now the account, it actually identifies the bird as the English pouter. This is a real bird that is over in England, a highly selective bred pigeon that can be recognized by its normally large crop.
Okay.
And it is a real bird. So, but the internet was like, freaking out.
The internet, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. And we learned that today. I always come across these weird things where people are just like, is this an alien? And they're like, no, actually, it's a species of animal. it's disgusting.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But I like that. Now I'm gonna like compliment people on their prop, right? Is that what it's called?
Crop.
Yeah, the crop. Nice crop. That is the
good looking crop.
Yeah, that's the smoothest way to say boobs. You know, where you don't sound too crude. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
So I thought Valdez was gonna pop in, but apparently he wasn't. And let's see. There's another thing I want to show you too. You ever play the game Shoots and Ladders?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was a childhood game. Imagine if somebody recreated and built the Shoots and Ladders board as a playground that kids can play on.
All right.
Well, and then imagine no more because somebody did that. In fact, okay. Check this out. I believe this is in, I want to say Pennsylvania. I got the details of it. This is the grand opening of the Shoots and Ladders playground. They spent a couple $1 million to make this happen. It was a full thing. In fact, actually, the total price, it cost more than $1 million, so almost $2 million.
Wow.
The Shoots and Ladder theme playground opened in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and it looks just like it sounds with dozens of slides and equipment to climb. And the playground took 2 years to design and build. And the city posted this footage on opening day, and there's some hills involved, and it does look reminiscent of the game, but it's also for very young kids, so not nearly as harrowing as it could have been. Because if it was harrowing, then it would be like a frat boy destination for like once it was dark, you know, drunken Shoots and Ladders all day long.
Yeah.
They got the biggest slides in the state. So yeah. So 100-foot slides.
Do they have a big spinner that you can actually play the game? That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. I don't know if they do that. But you know what? The kids don't follow by the rules anyways, so fuck it. Like, why do the spinner when they would just spin it until it breaks, as they do.
That's interesting. It just makes you start thinking about what other board games could you do, right? You know what I mean? Like that would be interesting.
Well, you know they're making a Tucson Monopoly official. Tucson.
Oh, they are, yeah.
And there's a poll happening, I think, on Hasbro's website that is asking Tucsonans to basically recommend, or what's the proper word for that? Suggest or nominate different landmarks to be on the board. If your Tucson Monopoly board was being made and you were the one making the calls, what would be park, or what would be Boardwalk, and then also what would be Baltic Avenue?
Baltic Avenue. Maybe Baltic Avenue would be Alvernon and Grant.
Yeah.
I mean,
now, but the new Grant and Alvernon is now Oracle and Grant.
That's true.
Yeah, she says that because she lives on Grant now.
I do.
So,
I do.
Yeah, it's all defensive right there. Like, no. But have you seen that? I mean, yes, it is bad. It is bad. But Grant and Alvernon, I felt like I was going to get shot just going to work the other day. Yeah.
I mean, I was talking about Miracle Mile the other day. I was like, wow, that place has been classed up a lot. It is not like it was back in the day.
I know the new Miracle Mile seems like it's my street because I'm driving down the road and I'm like, is that a hoe? Is that a hoe? I don't even know. Am I in a different state? Am I Idaho? All right. You get that joke? All right. So it's time for your single song takeover. It's the Hives' latest song. I've been rocking this out in my car. I'm digging it. I appreciate the Hives being back. Just some, old school 2000 or aughts rock and roll. It's high tempo. It's called Bogus Operandi. It's your single song takeover. The Hives. Turn it up. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. All right. I could have played, and I should have played Decker too. What am I doing? Oh, you know what? I could do the double song takeover.
Who cares?
Yeah. We are going to the Decker show tonight at Club Congress, and that's going to be a fun one. And I will remember to throw that out there on the air as well. Valdez. Oh, yeah. No Valdez. All right. So it was okay. So you said Grant and Alvernon would be your Baltic Avenue. What would be your Boardwalk?
I don't know. That's
Skyline.
Tough. I don't know. And part of me wants to be something that's historic, like the Pima County Dome. You know what I mean?
You would say that, yeah, because I mean that's part of your gig, right?
Yeah.
It's restoration and whatnot. So some historical landmark that is beautiful, that is solely Sonoran's, like solely Tucson.
Yeah.
I
mean, if you're talking about shopping, you'd be like, oh, La Encantada. You know what I mean? Like it'd be something like that. But I don't know.
And of
course, I'd say the Fox because I restored the Fox. But I mean,
the Fox Theater would be probably a green or orange property. Let's be honest.
Yeah, be a green property. Yeah.
Well, I mean, green is giving it like credit for sure. But what is the boardwalk? Maybe we could run that question on the air as well, because that seems like a difficult question, and I'll write it down. Maybe I'll do a Facebook poll next week, because that's a good one. I know that a lot of people grew up in Tucson. They have their opinion. So I'm asking streamers as well. You tell me your Baltic Avenue and then your Boardwalk Avenue Monopoly piece of Tucson style. And I know I've seen a Tucson Monopoly before in Tucson Games and Gadgets. I can't recall what they had as Boardwalk at the time, but it wasn't an official Hasbro Tucson game, and that's the difference here. This is an official one.
Yeah, and I think with that other one, I think like people bought them, right? Like it was a sponsored thing. Like you would go like, oh, I'm gonna, I want it, my business, I want it to be that, so I'm gonna pay $10,000, and then I'm on the board.
I saw them in like Walgreens's like souvenir section. You know what I mean? That's when I saw the announcement, I was like, I thought they already did that.
Yeah,
but I guess not.
Yeah, well, no, this is the official. Yeah, and I didn't know that you could just steal Monopoly and
just make your own.
Yeah, make your own Monopoly, but apparently you can. So
until the lawyers call you.
Issue
a cease and desist. Yeah.
Right.
So,
all right. Let's see. What else are we covering here? So Black Mirror trip. So what's your favorite episode in this new season of Black Mirror?
I think honestly, I like the Aaron Paul episode the best, just because it's like, and I also love how they sort of went backwards this year. It's not a lot of forward. It's not future stuff. It's sort of like looking back. And I just thought the Aaron Paul one was just like really left me thinking about stuff, just the whole thing it's a trip, that one. I mean, but I just love Black Mirror. I just think Charlie Booker, I just think that guy is brilliant, and I want to see whatever he does.
And he absolutely is. And, he actually went viral in this interview recently because he played around with ChatGPT to see if his job was safe. And he's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to be working here for a few years. It's going to take a while for AI to catch up to the twisted imagination that I have. And that is the power of human writers still. I mean, yes, AI and technology can definitely make things a little easier. But at the same time, it's not going to really be to the point where we are as far as evolved creative creatures when it comes to entertainment anyways. Technical stuff, maybe, In fact, actually, I do have a story that I came across. I wanted to see where it was. Oh, I think it was earlier in my show sheet, where there's a university that's experimenting with an AI that will help us do, or basically will do everyday mundane things. And this is from scientists at Carnegie Mellon. They started teaching AI to do things around the house the same way we learn everything now. YouTube. They're having their artificial intelligence program watch YouTube. And they're showing, you can sit down, Valdez. We've been waiting for you for 32 minutes. But they're showing their AI programs, how-to videos of people doing various tasks. And, don't mess with that right now.
All right.
I have too many distractions. We're doing a show. Let me do the segment, and then we'll get a camera on Valdez.
All right.
Whenever the hell we reset.
Just trying to be helpful.
You're very helpful. Now, my camera's messed up. What the hell's going on here? So I need AI for these tasks. But what I was saying was, for all the tasks that are simple, it was able to learn 12 of them, including how to open drawers and answer the phone. And the goal is to make them so good at the mundane day-to-day stuff that we won't have to do any of it eventually. So basically, the robot made on the Jetsons.
But only if it's got her sass.
Yeah.
She had attitude.
That is true. She did have attitude.
I just worry though that then we all become the humans in WALL-E, right? We're just in those overstuffed lounge chairs that move around because we don't have to do anything.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and that's a proper concern. I wouldn't be too concerned about it though if I was you, Herb. At your age, I don't think you're going to see that. But Weirdo and I are super concerned.
It's been a while since you've been able to throw some ageism at me. So thank you for that.
I had to do something to reset it. So we got your TMI Top 5 coming up next. Let's reset the Valdez here on the podcast broadcast, and we'll do our game gauntlet. So keep it right here. It's Rock 1 2.1 KFMA. All right. Yeah. Let me reset you the proper way here.
All right.
Earlier this morning, we did, let's see. You want to do F My Life or confession session? We had a good confession session.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. In case you didn't see FMA, welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. Good morning, Herb Stratford.
Good morning.
All right, well, so we're going to be covering what's being released this weekend. We're also going to be talking about the debacle that is The Flash and if it deserved a bomb. So much more here with Herb in just a little bit. But first, it's now 8:30. Time for a confession session with Weirdo. She's been getting flooded in her email inbox, just anonymous confessions from listeners. So if you ever want to get something off your chest you'd like to confess, then send an email to weirdo@kfma.com. Weirdo, go ahead, break down your first confession for us this morning.
Okay. My wife of 5 years and I met after we had a low-speed fender bender in a supermarket car parking lot, right? Super sweet, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's how she remembers the story, just as a romantic moment. But I've never...
like first she rear-ended him and then he returned the favor.
But I've never told her that I crashed into her because I was distracted by another woman's booty.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was checking out another lady.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, it still works. You found the one.
Mhm.
So which mic do you want there, Herb?
Oh, I'm taking this one. I was just getting that. So I had an eye line on Weirdo. So
Oh, okay.
I just had a blockage there.
Fair enough. All right. So, well, I mean,
it happens to men at your age. I'm so sorry.
I do like the fact that he kept that a secret because I think that's a secret he doesn't need to tell his wife, you know?
Right. Nothing good comes out of that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And it doesn't matter because, like they still met and the end results justify the means. So, yeah.
I mean, if it was me and it was like, well, I mean, what did her ass look like? You got to tell me.
Well, of course you would say that. And I'm guessing it was fantastic if it was enough to like cause a car accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you get mesmerized and forget what you're doing.
Oh, the jiggle. Oh, the jiggle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In my area and stuff, I was driving around like a country club and I don't know, summertime. So summertime booty is coming out. So there's been a lot of distractions on the road where I'm like, dear Lord, you just walking? You guys just walk. You're way too hot to just be walking.
Right.
Maybe that's
or you know what? Go down to university and girls are walking around in thong bikini bottoms like down university. Like,
yeah,
like,
you live downtown.
Seriously?
So I know.
Like, really? Does your mom know you're walking around without a cover up on or nothing?
No, it's the first time they moved out of the house and immediately was just like, yeah, I'm just going to go hoeing at the university.
Oh, bless them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of our biggest tourist attractions in town.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, what other confessions you got there, Weirdo?
All right, I worked as with TaskRabbit a few years ago, and a lot of my tasks ended up being in nice neighborhoods like up in Oro Valley and the foothills.
Okay.
Terrible pay, but lonely housewives were a bonus. If you hired me to assemble furniture or do light repairs in those areas, I probably banged your wife.
Oh, no.
Oh, my.
That does happen, though. My buddy was, he worked for a cable company, so he was like a cable installer, and he would get propositioned all the time as well. When he was like 19, 20 years old. These housewives at home and stuff. So
I mean, they're bored.
Yeah, they're bored. Yeah. Did you ever get anything fixed at your house by a handyman?
Just recently I've got a guy that's been coming over, but like because I work out of the house, I'm there all day. My wife is in, so he hasn't tried to bang me. So
all right, what other confessions you got there?
All right, all of my passwords are insults that have been said to me at some point in my life.
Oh,
they are generally easier to remember because I'll never forget Tiny Penis 2003, and that's a capital T and a capital P.
Oh no,
that's actually kind of genius.
It really is.
I don't know if they're going to be able to heal though. I mean, it's like picking the scab every time they log in somewhere.
What would be a good insult password for you?
No, I block them all out. I have the shortest term memory when it comes to abuse.
That's called trauma, and therapy is helpful.
Yes, I know, but why would I want to relive it? I mean, it is like a survival mechanism in my brain. But yeah, at the same time, like, just imagine it's insult to injury because you use your Tiny Penis 2003 password to pay your like electric bill. And then Summer's here and you're like, oh my God, I'm getting like, abused twice.
And then what happens when something happens to you and your survivors have to log into everything?
That was more about Grandpa than I ever wanted to know.
100%. So yeah, change them. Try to flip it to a positive. All right. Anything else in your confession session this morning?
I broke my wife's cherished porcelain doll while vacuuming while she was at work. I placed the pieces back together, intending to fix it before she came home, but I didn't. But thankfully, the very excited Labrador knocked over the broken doll when she came home, and the dog got the blame.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's an awesome save. I got to say, I'm all about that. That's like, oh, what to talk to. You're tall.
I mean, they say golden retriever or Labradors are the most loyal dogs. So there you go.
I guarantee you this guy too would like leaned in extra hard on the dog. Like, back off! Oh, I can't believe you're going outside. I got this, babe. You know
I'll
he
be
did.
the savior.
100%. All right, there's your confession session. We're going to be talking movies with Herb Stratford, podcast broadcast going live at 9. We have so much more to go. So keep it right here. It's Rock 102.1. And we have been talking movies with Herb Stratford. That's how it works. We do a tease, and we actually do the tease.
Yeah, we delivered on the tease.
Yeah. See, I teased Valdez is going to be on the podcast broadcast. 35 minutes later, I delivered on my promise. What were you hanging out with the boys at ESPN?
I was getting some stuff done before I came in here.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, and now Valdez and stuff, he's limited in his appearances on the show for now, because he's in the doghouse. But hopefully we can get him back in, popping in during drive time as well. This is still technically drive time, but you know, I like you to pop in the 7:00 hour sometimes on Fridays to play games against Weirdo. And but since you're in here in the podcast, I want you to play a game against Herb Stratford.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I lost.
No, I lose. I have the worst record on this show of wins.
You're pretty bad at games. He cracks under the pressure. Okay,
Yeah, I do. That's exactly right.
Yes, and that's great, and that's kind of like why I want to play this game. Now, okay, so this real quick, we actually played this game earlier to give away tickets for Mammoth WVH. So if you were listening, Herb, you might have an advantage. And if you were around when Arizona became a state, you definitely have an advantage.
Here we go.
All right, so here we go. It's Think Fast. So buzz in with your name if you know the answer, okay? If you get the answer right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, your opponent gets a point. Again, it's all about buzzing in quicker, okay? And the theme is Arizona trivia. Super simple Arizona trivia. Here we go. What is the capital of the city of Arizona?
Valdez.
Herb.
Phoenix.
Correct. All right. I gotta get a little
That's a
faster.
good
in there.
start. Good
Yeah, that
start.
is fast. Yeah. Herb is pretty fast in this. So far, so good. Let's see. Which famous natural landmark in Arizona is carved by the Colorado River?
Valdez.
Valdez.
Grand Canyon.
That is correct. All right. What is the official state bird of Arizona?
Valdez.
What?
Cactus wren.
That's correct.
I would have said Roadrunner, so I would have been wrong.
That would have been
you
cooler. Can you imagine that?
That would have been
man.
better.
Could you imagine a state? Did you ever even focus on the state bird being a cactus wren? Do you ever sit back and you
Think about
imagine
it?
the cactus wren? All right, never mind. All right. I mean, nobody really cares, right?
I mean, we got a hockey team called the Roadrunners, so that would be cool if the Roadrunner was the state bird.
It's
That
a cool
would.
bird, man. It's awesome if you ever see them.
It's true. You see them more than cactus wrens, I would assume, or I do.
And
Actually,
they kill rattlesnakes.
okay, yeah. I guess you have imagined it.
hardcore.
Okay. Next question. Which city in Arizona is known for the annual Gem and Mineral Show? Herb.
Tucson.
That's correct.
Yes.
All right.
And another city take it?
Oh no, they threatened one time to move it up to Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That was scary.
Yeah.
That's good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we rely, our entire economy is based off that show.
Yeah. Millions are pumped into the economy.
All right, here we go. Which Native American tribe is associated with the Navajo Nation, the largest reservation in Arizona? Aren't you native in a way there, Valdez?
Valdez. Isn't it the Navajo?
It is.
It is.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
answer was in the question.
Yes.
That's why I was confused.
Yeah, that was
That was a
weird,
trick
wasn't
question.
it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, please, Herb. Don't act like you care. All right, here's our next question. What is the name of the professional basketball team based in Phoenix? Herb.
Suns.
That's correct. All right, next question. Which U.S. president's namesake dam can be found on the Colorado River? Yes.
Herbert Hoover.
That is correct. All right. A couple more left here and think fast and for the game gauntlet. Which desert in Arizona is home to the iconic saguaro cactus?
Sonoran.
That is correct.
Mhm.
That's what we live in. All right. So it's 5-3 so far. He might be beating you, Valdez.
I'm getting pummeled.
All right. Which Arizona city is famous for its golf courses and hosts the Waste Management Phoenix Open? Yes.
Phoenix.
Incorrect. Point goes to Valdez. Scottsdale, dude. Scottsdale. Yeah,
And it's called the
Really?
Phoenix
Yes.
Open?
Yes.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
it used to be called the Waste Management Open, which was a horrible name.
No,
Yeah.
I call it the Wasted Management Open because those guys are all fucking
It's
blackout.
really Scottsdale? It must be
Yeah.
North Scottsdale.
You've
All
never
right.
been,
That's
huh?
crazy.
I've never been. It is North Scottsdale in the
Right.
Troon area,
Right.
and it is a douche magnet extraordinaire.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fun
why
to
I've
go
never
to,
been. Yeah.
but when you people watch it, I'm telling you, man, insane. You like you could like feel the entitlement in the air. The you know who I am, guys, everywhere.
yeah.
You
A
know
lot
how
of
much
Tommy
money
Bahama,
I make,
right?
Oh
A lot
my
of Tommy Bahama.
god! And not only that, dude, so many like hot gold diggers that are looking for their future ex-husbands.
Yeah.
Legitimately, where I used to work there every year, right? I would do my morning show, and the Cox Communications would have a tent there, and they would rent blackjack tables for my mom. And I would go out there, I would deal for like 6-7 hours for the people in the Cox VIP tent, right? So I would go there as a worker and dress in a tux. So I'm already kind of pissed off that I look like, you know,
Mr. Belvedere, like,
yeah,
hello?
yeah. I'm just looking like a weird kid. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he here? But I would sit there during my downtime and people watch for days, and I would see all these girls dressed up like they're going to the club, wearing like 9-inch stilettos, and on a golf course that has like a lot of spilt beer is never a good idea. And I would watch girls one by one have their heels sink so far deep into the mud that they just tip over like a tree. It was amazing.
By the way, you said Cox.
For those of you out there, it's Cox, not Hawks. We don't want to get any angry phone calls.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and then anyone out there wondering why Herb frequents the show. He's got a good persona outside of the show for sure. It looks like 5-4. The winner, Think Fast, was Herb Stratford.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Valdez. That
Yes,
was good. We had fun.
That was
Really
very
fun.
good. Yeah. Now that was just straight up trivia. That's not like last word stuff. Last word stuff is where it gets a little tricky. And sometimes I don't even want to do it with her because he's going to get himself canceled.
That's true. Very true.
Oh yeah, Herb, if you're not doing anything, if you want to taste hot sauce and everything, we got Todd whipping together. We're trying to sell. We're doing merchandise. Are you still down for that too? We're on noon tomorrow. Yeah. So we're gonna put together Beast ball sauce or ball sweat, hot sauce or drink mixes, and those kind of things. And Todd came across the perfect company for this. In fact, this company actually is a provider of quality goods for a lot of things that you see. Like it was at the Renaissance Fair where he picked up a bottle of hot sauce that was branded Renaissance Fair and everything else. And he realized, actually, they're just kind of like a middleman for the company. So there's a company that does all these great, wonderful products, and you order it, they'll brand it specifically to you. So you could do that legally too. Have like high quality hot sauce that you don't have to do anything but slap your name on and be like, hey, we want to try this. So we're gonna try to figure out the best flavors tomorrow and reveal that.
I meant to ask you about that because I was ready last weekend.
Yeah,
because you guys said who's bringing the vodka, and I was gonna surprise you guys. I have tamarindo vodka from Smirnoff. It's yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'll
because
try
I was
that.
taught you never show up anywhere empty-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So can I bring chicks?
Yeah, Todd, you got any problems with chicks? Nope, no problems with chicks. Does your wife? I should ask Mel, honestly, and I'm sure she doesn't. She's a sweetheart and super nice. So, well, now that's not a surprise. Well, yes, the Captain Obvious there.
Can bring that chick from WrestleMania?
Was that a yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'll see if I could bring both of them.
Yeah.
Damn, look at you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I had plans later on that day, but I might be able to clear my schedule. No, I don't know. I mean, I might end up taking my shirt off, getting in the pool, so that might eliminate any kind of possibilities. Unless I give him the angle, right, Herb?
That's right.
That's right.
There is an angle for the dangle. That is true.
An angle for the dangle. Now, Weirdo, have you gone to my Instagram page yet?
No.
I want you to do that right now.
Yeah.
Because I actually posted the picture that I was showing Kat and Herb at the end of the video. And it's actually surprisingly sexy. I'm just saying.
If he does say so himself.
Well, no, I did have people back me up on that, and you were one of them, Herb Stratford. Rock 102.1 KFMA. We're talking about like yesterday. I showed Kat my thirst trap shower photo, right? That I sent during sexting. I know, and this is not something that I'm like well versed at. or something I would even normally do. But I was caught up in the moment. It was back and forth kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, and I was actually like, wow, man, look at me. I look like I work out. It was a good angle. And so I convinced Kat to look at it and give me an honest rating. And then Herb, he jumped in on it and just stared at it like it was one of those photos where you're expecting to see something else.
The 3D photos where you're gonna stare at.
Cross his eyes a little bit.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out. I'm like, okay, did he protect himself? Is this like, is this a
he was
PG?
looking for the D. Yeah.
Question though, Herb, was he still wearing the hat?
No.
Oh.
No.
I cut off the top of my head. I was wearing the hat in
No,
the shower.
you weren't.
No, of course not. But
I just assume everything you do in life has the hat involved.
No, I will take off my hat during sex, but I will say this, whenever taking a nude, rule number 1 is never include your full face.
Never.
Yeah. You have to have plausible deniability.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Or tattoos.
Yeah, tats.
Well,
I'm screwed.
yeah, highly
You already
identifiable.
said you got all
Right.
kinds of people at home.
Yeah.
All right, did you get to the end of that clip?
Hold on, it's going.
Okay, good.
Sometimes reels you can fast forward, sometimes you can't.
Yeah, it's coming up.
What is Kat's face?
Oh yeah, that's. Well, I told her it was a live video. Yeah, you see
You're
that?
such an ass.
I know. There you go. So that's a sexy picture.
You wish.
If you guys want to see that sexy picture, you can look at the reel and just look at the reel on the Instagram page for Rock 1 2.1 or Be Vegan, and you'll see the picture of Kat looking all shocked. That's the reel that you want to click on. Let me give you some headlines real quick before we hit the reset and come back with your beef tip. Wait a second.
What was that?
It wasn't
Herb-
me.
Bro.
That was you, Valdez. You have Backstreet Boys as your ringtone?
You have so many ringtones. Like every time you come in, they're different.
Because it's one for each person. So I can
Yeah.
know who's texting.
Okay, so who just texted you that has Backstreet Boys?
That would be Sabrina.
Okay, well, that's good. Is she a fan of that?
Now she knows.
Okay. That's weird. All right.
And then that's another text tone with my name.
It just says,
That's from Fallout 4. He's like, I'm the one who shot Valdez.
okay.
Oh,
well,
okay.
that's me texting him, by the way. I just wanted to know, just so I didn't have like the Imperial March or something,
I do have to admit, one of my exes is named Kyle. And I did have a ringtone for him. It's God damn it, Kyle from Cartman from South Park. Every time he
See,
texted
that
me.
works. That works so good.
No, now I just put my phone on Do Not Disturb so nobody bothers me. It's fine.
Yeah, and I overwrite it every time. All right.
Yeah, you
We have to play some commercials. We'll be back with your beef tip after this. We're going to do our TMI top 5 on the podcast broadcast, youtube.com/beefvegan. All right. Yeah, so that's good. At least I didn't have like a messed up ringtone. I'm like, wait a second, motherfucker. If this is on silent, you're gonna find this out. Just imagine like it'd be the worst case or
I almost
worse.
thought of making your ringtone of your former boss just berating you.
Oh yeah, grabbing that audio. It went viral, so yeah, might as well. Speaking of which, I have a meeting today because of Monday, which it's like ironic and a turnaround. It's a completely different scenario. And Powers and I are on good terms. And it was essentially, if wrestling terms, it was a work that ended up turning into a shoot. And so, but not in a hardcore way. Like, the difference, there's a major difference in my mind. One, I wasn't calling him names. I wasn't, like trying to verbally abuse him. I was, leaning into and promoting. Weirdo was there the whole morning long of like calling him out to join on the podcast for us to settle our dispute that we had last week. I texted him last week all crankily because he was in the studio. He responded in a way that, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And we kind of went back and forth, snickering like little bitches. Nothing even like, fuck you, man, I'll kick your ass. Nothing like that. Right. Not even name calling. It was irritating. And so I was like, let's turn this negative into a positive and bring some drama to the podcast, bring some extra eyes onto the podcast. Very wrestling minded. Let's do this as a work, right?
Kayfabe.
Yeah. Now he was still mad at me for the text message from the week before, but I texted him the night before, be like, hey, I'm going to invite you on the stream tomorrow so we could hash it out and resolve this and then wrap a bow on it. And it'll be a good way to kind of explain your continued absence because he's continuing to move on in future areas because he's working with nonprofits and the company he works for that does he does a large majority of work for. They're involved with so many different nonprofits, but they have a hard on against me. They do not like like me for whatever reason. Like they must have heard a segment. Not every segment we do is crude, rude, or abusive. You know what I mean? Like abrasive, I mean. There's definitely those segments. We're talking to dudes, it's our audience, but there's some like, older lady that must have heard the show and is like, they're talking about sex. This is the worst thing ever.
Right.
Whatever. Right. So he's protecting his brand and he's getting more opportunities that are going in that way. And it's great. He was around at the beginning and really helped me get things going. So I'm very appreciative of him. But considering I was doing the work and then he wasn't popping on, I'm getting more irritated by this. And then some like real frustrations came out during that. And I know all my streamers, I know you guys are going to be like, I told you so, because all you streamers were like, don't do this. But the reality was I was doing the work. I was trying to create an uncertainty. And I was playing with fire because I feel like in this realm in entertainment, like if you don't have any moments that feel dangerous, then you're not taking any risks. And, if you don't take any risks, you're not reaping any rewards. And, like this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to like take a little bit of real life element. I wanted to make it theatrical. I want to make it entertaining. And I wanted to be able to have like essentially the motive behind it revealed at the end. But, I could have explained it better to Powers, apparently. And, and that's how it is. So now I have a meeting that was very much like the meeting I had a couple years ago when I got this job. And I'm like, great. And I'm like, I'm trying to explain, like, it's not the same, I swear. Is it? Oh my God. I don't know. So, again, if you're not getting in trouble, then you're not trying. And that's another thing too. And I know it might make them nervous. It might make their like butt clench. But I promise you, I will keep trying. And sometimes when I'm trying, it's going to annoy people. It's going to piss them off a little bit, and they're going to have to slap me on the wrist. And today I'm going to get a little spanking.
Well, thank you for taking the heat off of me because I already had my meeting on Monday.
I know.
So I appreciate it.
Well,
it's like when your older brother F's up more than you.
Right.
You're like, whoo.
Yeah. Well, you can always count on me for that, dude.
So we gotta stick together, man.
I know it was interesting and stuff, but yeah. So, but it is unfortunate too. I did want to have a closure as far as give Powers a proper send off, on the show, because again he's getting more busy and he'll announce some of the stuff that he's going to do, but he'll still do the PSA show on the stations, but he's having like another career change. The guy's loading up on stuff, and I hope he can juggle it all. But this latest one that he was talking about to me yesterday, and I'll let him tell it. It is a good, nice career opportunity. I'm like, that's perfect.
OnlyFans?
No. Again, see, that's the kind of jokes that he can't be around.
Sorry, Powers. I mean,
no, it's actually a suitable profession. It's respectable, almost like Herb's profession, but real.
I always saw Powers as like,
yeah, I mean, potentially, we'll see. It's in education, so right. But with a caveat that would utilize his graphic design as well. So we're both kind of hoping it means he gets paid more than an educator, because really, I mean, you're going to cheat, or you're going to go back and forth between radio and like education. It's like, you don't want to make any money at all ever. Like,
is he going to be the new Raffi?
What's that?
Remember back in the early 90s, that kid singer Raffi? The kids like loved him. That dude made millions.
Oh yeah.
He wishes. No, he wishes. If he honestly, his dream job would be like Mr. Roger-esque, right? And that's part of his like shtick. He's really good at doing the children's entertainment stuff. So yeah, if he had an opportunity to be a fucking tweaked out Barney, he would.
I can see that.
Yeah.
A pierced and tatted Barney.
Is he pierced though?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I was like, yeah,
edgy Barney, I guess.
Yeah. He's definitely got those tattoos and stuff. But yeah, that's something to look forward to kick off my weekend. How's your weekend looking? You guys doing anything fun besides going to the Decker show tonight? No.
I'm gonna be Jello wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
What? Yeah.
Say what?
I know, it's fantastic. In fact, actually, we only got a couple minutes, so I'm just gonna get on the air and cut off Nirvana. I apologize if you never heard The Man Who Sold the World before by Nirvana, but Weirdo is Jello wrestling on Saturday, and it's worth mentioning again. There's a couple things happening this weekend, so if you want to go out and entertain yourself tonight, we're going to be at Club Congress. A good friend Decker, Carlos Israti, and the Senators are all performing at Club Congress. That's around 8 o'clock tonight. That's a low dose show. Should be a lot of fun. So if you're looking for some live music, do that. But if you're looking for a bunch of people Jello wrestling for the sake of raising money for a great charitable organization, safe.org, well, then Weirdo is wrestling her girlfriend.
Yes, we are.
Live tomorrow night at Slaughterhouse.
I'm going to be your dollar store Rhea Ripley. I'm so excited.
I love Rhea Ripley.
Well, everyone loves Rhea Ripley.
Can I make a sign for you?
No.
Yes, come out, do it.
That's a very bold statement to compare yourself to Rhea Ripley. I would start off lower on the card before you consider yourself like mommy. I'm just saying, she's amazing. She's the top dog.
She can throw me against a wall anytime.
Yeah. And there's a good chance that you might lose. So Rhea Ripley don't lose. So
that is true.
Yeah, your girlfriend might make you look like a jobber.
Yeah, my girlfriend did wrestling in high school. So I am screwed. So if you want to watch me come get, my face shoved in a Jello.
You're not completely out of it though. I mean, you are used to taking the pile driver, so that's good. That's a wrestling move. That's totally a wrestling move.
Totally.
All right, we ran out of time. Herb Stratford, thank you so much for coming in, dude. I appreciate you as always. Valdez, thanks for popping in for a minute, and thanks for your fantastic traffic reports. Can you say I'm Valdez for the audience?
I'm Valdez.
There you go. Weirdo, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
But you're no Rhea Ripley.
No.
I love it. I know. Sorry. I have another meeting for that. All right. Thank you guys for listening to the show. As always, enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday morning. Drive safe, ride safe, and rock local. Later. I know outro song today because it was cutting it close, but thank you guys on the stream. Hopefully see you tonight or see you soon.